What's up, everyone? I'm Skidvis. Welcome to Shark Jets. Today we're going to talk about laser pointers. If you have a VR headset, you know what I'm talking about. The little finger with the laser. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that. Alright, so here we go. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is create a new project. Make sure it's a new 3D project, and we will call this one Pew Pew. Le Pew. Pew Pew Le Pew. I like it. If you've been following along, you know what the next step is. We're going to bring in the Oculus integration from the asset store. So we'll go ahead and import all this as we did in this other video. We will import everything for now. And of course, we accept the new plugin and restart it. All right, now that that's all done, we can get back to our scene. We will go ahead and create a plane as usual. Boom. Then we want to delete the camera. We're not going to use it. We've got our own camera. So that's where we bring in the OVR player controller. Which contains our camera and colliders and hands and all that good stuff that we're going to need. Then we want to go in as usual again and change our camera to have a tracking origin of floor level. And we want to keep expanding this and bring in our local avatar, which is actually what contains our hands. So we'll bring the local avatar and drop it into the tracking space, as so. And here's where we need to put in our Oculus IDs in order for the hands to show up. So we go up to the Oculus menu, avatars, edit settings, punch in your developer ID, or a bogus number for testing, and make sure that is in there. And then we're ready to get started with our laser. So in this example, we're just going to put a laser on the right hand. If you wanted to put it on the left hand as well, just follow the same steps that we're going to do here, and we will get that accomplished. So we'll go to the right hand anchor, and we will put a line renderer. So yeah, there it is, line renderer. And the first thing is we're going to want to do this. We're gonna disable the line renderer. Should probably do this in the backward order. First thing I want to do is resize it because it's really thick, as you can see right there. It's not really much of a laser. It's more like a wall. So I'm going to bring it down. Bring it down to whatever you feel comfortable with. That should be enough for me. And now that it's narrow like that, now I'll go ahead and disable it because we don't want to see it on the whole time. And then we can collapse that. And then right here on the right-hand anchor, we will add a script. So let's call this Pew Pew. Or whatever you want. And then we will open up that file in our editor of choice. And we're going to have to do just a little bit of setup. And here we go. So right at the beginning, we want to get a reference to the line renderer, because what we're going to do, we're going to shoot a raycast, which is invisible. That's going to be our actual line and then we're gonna mirror that line basically with that line renderer so that we can actually see where the line is. So we'll go ahead and create a line renderer, and we'll call it rendo. And then in the beginning here, in the start method, we're gonna get that line renderer from the components that are on this current object, I guess. So we will set rendo to gameObject.getComponent line renderer, and that will snag our current line renderer. Now we're going to create a method that does all the work for us. So we'll do a void do pew pew, oops, pew pew, and it's going to take 3 parameters, a vector3 that shows where you want to be the target, another vector3 that shows the direction that we're targeting, and then the third parameter is going to be length. How long is this line going to be? So we will set that first one, vector3, call it target pause, or target pause. The other one is called direction, and then the last one is a float called length. All right. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to define that ray that we're talking about, that we're going to shoot out. It's a new ray. It's a new day. And it's going to go, whoops, target goes to our target position and our target direction. All right. Equal sign would be nice there. Yeah. Okay. And then to determine the ending position of this is a vector3 called end pause, and it is equal to our target position plus the direction times the length. Bam. All right, then we're going to do a little if statement to detect a collision, basically. So if physics dot raycast between the ray and then output the raycast hit, which is if we hit something, I want to know what it is. So we'll call that ray hit. And then, of course, we need to know the length. So if we hit something with our ray in this distance, then we're going to handle it in this if statement. So what we want to do is we want to set the new end to be whatever we hit, right? So our ray hit dot point. So when we hit something, that will be the end of our laser, so that it doesn't keep going through things. And then, of course, we want to see what we hit, so we'll just do a debug.log and just put in the ray hit dot collider dot game object dot name. That way we can just see the name of whatever it is we hit. And then here comes the magic. After we've drawn the line, we actually have to mirror our line renderer to actually show the invisible line with the actual line renderer. So we'll set rendo dot set position. So where is it going to start? The 0 point of the laser is going to start at our target position. And then we will do set position again. This time we'll set the end of it, the 1 point, to our end position. Boom. Just like that. And that takes care of all that. And then we go into our update, which is happening, you know, every cycle. And here's where we're going to go ahead and determine whether or not we're shooting the laser, right? So here we're going to get the input button from the trigger, or from the inside trigger, not the index finger trigger. And we will draw the line when that is pressed. So we'll need an if statement, and then we need to get that input. So OVR input dot get OVR input dot raw button dot right hand trigger. See, there's two trigger buttons, the index trigger and the hand trigger. So we're going to be using the hand trigger because it just gives us more of a natural pointing look. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So if that button is pressed, we'll handle it by doing the pew pew. So we'll do pew pew. We will send the hands position and the hands forward. So we want the laser to shoot forward from the hand. So we will just reach our current transform for our game object and find its position because we're set on the hand, on the right hand. So we'll get the hands position and the hands forward. And then we want our laser to be just some random number you decide, but I'm going with 5. And that's a float, so it's got the F at the end. And then we will turn on the laser, so rendo.enabled equals true. And if it's not, if the button isn't being pressed, we want to make sure that the laser is off. So enabled equals false. And that is all there is to it. So now if we go back in, oh, we're not done yet. We've got to do a couple other things. What about, we need something to collide with. Right now we're going to collide with the ground, which is fine, but I also want to add a cube. So let me just add a cube in here and move that to the side here. And now we can go ahead and start it up. The cube has a collider on it. Our laser should hit that box, and we should see something here in the log saying that we've hit it. So let's see if it's all good. All right, so there's the box. Here's my hand. If I squeeze the trigger, you see there's the laser. And as you can see in the debug right there on the bottom, if I touch the plane, it says plane. If I touch the box, the cube, it says cube. Plane, cube, plane, cube. And that's all there is to it. You can keep adjusting that line renderer to make it look however you want, make it look cool, like a real laser, or whatever, a pencil if you want. But that's how you do it. On, off, on, off. Pretty easy. Let's get out of here. There you have it. It's just that easy. I hope my tutorial was easy enough to follow along with. If not, feel free to post a question, any questions you might have, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. In the meanwhile, if this was helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and if you'd like to be an insider, join our Patreon community, where we'll have some extra goodies for you every episode and some other perks. So thanks again for watching. I'm still SkidVis. Peace out.